Welcome back to the Moonflower Show.
Hello, welcome back.
How you doing? Are you having a nice winter time? Happy solstice.
Yeah, was that yesterday?
It was yesterday. Well, yesterday was the winter solstice, but Yule actually lasts through, I think, January 1st this year.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But solstice is different than Yule or same than Yule?
I'm actually not sure, and I really should have a better answer, but the winter solstice is the day that is the shortest out of the year.
Yes.
After which the days start getting longer again.
Yes.
And
I knew that.
Yuletide is I believe it's a multiple day holiday.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, happy winter time.
Happy Wintertide.
From Winter.
Yes, from me, Winter.
And Colin. I'm here too.
We are here this evening to share with you some heartwarming stories for listening to around the Christmas / Hanukkah, which I think is over, / Yuletide / general holiday fire.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever holiday you're celebrating, you should have some fire.
Yeah. It's cold out. It's time to gather your kin by the fire and tell stories to keep you warm.
Yeah. Stories are the greatest source of warmth.
I feel like I actually don't know a lot about Hanukkah, but I think that a lot of the winter holidays are about like trying to find cheer even though it's kind of miserable outside.
Oh, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what it's all about during this time. It's about, getting your flock together.
Yeah.
And staying warm and cozy.
Yeah. For sure. So, we're going to share with you some stories to help keep you cozy.
Yeah, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that this holiday season was going to be, a little bit different than usual, at least for me, because thanks to the good old Panini, I am not going to be getting to see my family till a little bit after the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah, and we don't even know when that's going to be.
Yeah. They're doing okay. But we're trying to stay positive in these times.
Yep.
So we're reminiscing on some good times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we hope that this helps you too if you're having a bummer of a holiday season or if you're having a good one.
Yeah. I read something recently that said instead of saying like happy holidays, we should say have a gentle holiday.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, because the holidays are not a happy time for everybody. A lot of people, it's like they're around family that they don't necessarily get along with,
I mean,
and it can be really stressful.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't always buy into people saying that you should say something. Like, I'll still say happy holidays.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I don't know, even if it's not a happy holiday for you, I wish it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. I like have a gentle holiday, though.
Yeah, I sure wouldn't be upset if somebody said that to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I just know a lot of people who aren't able to celebrate with family. I feel like I learn about, like, a few new friends or people that I care about every day whose holiday plans have been disrupted this year.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are getting sick.
Yep.
Yeah. But enough of that. We are here to share some cheer.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get to it.
Yeah, sure. I guess I'll go first. And
yeah.
So this is kind of another like story time format episode.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess I wanted to begin by talking about something that's not so much a story as it is reminiscing on a very wholesome time in my life and a lot of people's lives. I don't know if you experienced this, but this was the release of Pokemon Go.
Oh yeah, I experienced that actually.
You played Pokemon Go?
Yeah, I was actually down in Florida when that was big.
You did tell me that, yeah. It came out the summer before I went to I came to Bing, I believe. Yeah. I whenever I think back to that time, there's a lot of jokes that people say about Pokemon Go that, like, when Pokemon Go first released, that was the closest we ever came to world peace. And there was just a lot of, like, camaraderie with, like, random people walking around and trying to get to all the little Pokestops and stuff.
And that was before the election also. I remember there was the whole thing about Hillary saying, like, why don't they Pokemon go to the polls?
We don't have to talk about that. we can just erase that from our collective memory.
My point in bringing up the election is that it was a time when a lot of us did not realize the... how do I put this? The depth of problems.
Oh yeah,
that there were.
I think that stretch of time from the release of Pokemon Go up until the 2016 election, that was like a little sweet spot, you know. Mm-hmm. It was also just a very exciting time in my life because I was going off to college.
Me too.
Yeah.
Well, not that I was going off to college, but it was a very exciting.
It was the beginning of a new year of school for you, and you know, I had my annual, like, family vacation that summer, which, you know, I remember one time I was walking down the street with my brother. We were out catching Pokemon, and there's this vehicle, this, like, red truck that rolled up beside us. Mm-hmm. And it kind of, like, slowed down next to us and, like, lowered the window. And at first we were like, oh, what's this happening here? And then these two guys stick their heads out the window and it's like, yo, did you catch that Charmander back there? And we were like, yeah, we got him.
Why does that guy sound like there was like an accent there and I can't tell if it was California or Canada. Yo! Yeah. Did you guys get that Charmander?
Dude.
That's California. That's gotta be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa! Gnarly Charmander.
Oh my god.
Gnarlmander.
Yeah.
I'll stop.
That was a fun time.
Yeah, Pokemon Go. What a good time.
Mm-hmm. And I remember there was all sorts of, like, events and, like, meetups of people just, like, getting together in the park and, like, searching after, like, the big ones that would appear, like the big legendary Pokemon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Those were fun times.
I look forward to the next, like, game or app or program that can do that for people, you know?
Yeah.
I think we need more of that, like, bring something that brings people together in such a way that, like, you get to meet new people, you get to get outside your comfort zone. Mm-hmm. It was really, like, innovative and I think what people really needed. Anyway, I just wanted to reminisce on Pokemon Go.
Yeah, so that's a good one. Mm-hmm. That's a good story. Well, I guess, like, good reminder, I guess.
Reminder.
Yeah, so mine is an actual story. Mm-hmm. And it's actually not a Christmas story. Mm-hmm. It's a Labor Day story.
I don't think any of mine are Christmas related either. So.
Yeah, they're just supposed to be heartwarming. They're supposed to be just stories about nice times and nice people. So in my town, where I grew up, we would have a Labor Day parade. Mm. And people would get, like, floats, you know, the whole thing. Like, there would be, like, marching bands and, like, the cheerleaders and stuff. It was, like, a thing. It was, like, a big ordeal. Like, you would, like, go to the Labor Day parade, you know. And a lot of the, like, businesses in town would get, like, these floats, and then they would just, like, throw candy, you know. Did you ever experience that?
Yes.
Yeah.
For a lot of, like, St. Patrick's Day parades I went to. I don't think I ever went to, like, a Labor Day parade.
Yeah.
Oh, and Mardi Gras is big in, like, Breezy Point.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I never did Mardi Gras, but we did Labor Day. Mm-hmm. And I remember being really little. I think I must have been 4 or 5, maybe. And I was, like, so excited to go to the Labor Day parade because I wanted to get my candy. Mm-hmm. But I was so little that every time they threw candy, all the older kids would just, like, shove me out of the way.
Oh.
And, like, go and get the candy before I could get any. And this happened, like, 3 times in a row. And And I was just like starting to cry, and I was like starting to get frustrated because I was such a sensitive kid. I don't think I still don't know how to stand up for myself. Mm-hmm. I wasn't a pushy kid. I would, if somebody was pushing me, I would always just like kind of like let them like go by me, you know? I would never like push back or like get into a fight.
Yeah.
But it was sad because it meant I was like not an assertive child. It meant I was just like wandering very slowly towards a Jolly Rancher, and then somebody else sniped it, and I was very sad. But these two boys who seemed like so grown up to me, and in reality they must have been like,
I think you've said this to me before.
They must have been like maybe like 8, 9, or 10, I would say. They came over to me after like the last time this happened, and they had in their hands like just like huge like fistfuls of candy, and they were like, "Here, do you want some of ours?" And I was like, "Pog." And I
Winter just made the pog face.
I did, yeah. And so I took some of the candy from them, and I was like, "Thank you." And it was just like so nice. And I think, I don't know, I didn't realize that like other kids would be like watching out for me like that, you know?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Seeing a child be nice to another child is like the sweetest thing in the world.
Yeah. And I mean, I think they noticed.
Yeah.
What happened. Mm-hmm. And they were just so sweet. Yeah.
Some good boys.
Yeah. Either that or their parents noticed what was going on and told them to come give me some.
Still, even so.
In my heart, as like a little 4 or 5-year-old,
they were very kind.
They were so kind, and I was like, they were like angels to me.
Aww.
Because I was so sad. I was like, I'm never gonna get any candy. Because I was such like a shy kid. I didn't know how to be aggressive, you know.
I laughed to myself when you were talking about how shy and passive you were, because like I was kind of the same way for the most part, but sometimes I would reach my limit and then like just lash out and like I would like throw a kid to the ground for like cutting me in line or something. Like once in a blue moon.
Yeah.
And I think back and I laugh, you know?
Yeah.
Like the story about I told you with the lunchbox.
Oh yeah.
This is not a wholesome story, but should I tell it?
Might as well. There's not really a wholesome moral,
it's funny in a dark sort of way.
I think you should tell it now, because they're gonna be curious.
I mean, you know, who doesn't love a little bit of dark humor? But when I was like, this is when it must have been like 1st or 2nd grade, I would ride the bus to school, and there was this kid that sat in the seat in front of me. And
I remember what happened.
Yeah. And in the wintertime, it would be really cold, and my nose would get like all red on the outside, you know, because it's cold. And then he would look over the back of the seat, like turn around and look over the back of the seat and just like look at me, smile down at me, and like sing this teasing song of like Colin the Red-Nosed something or other.
Oh, Colin the Red-Nosed Reindeer? Was he singing Rudolph?
Yeah, it was to the tune of Rudolph. I don't remember if it was Reindeer or whatever. And it pissed me the hell off all the time, and I always told him to stop it, and he just never stopped, right? Yeah. So after like weeks of this going on,
oh my gosh.
I devised a plan, my little 6-year-old self or whatever. You know, I knew I wasn't allowed to hit anyone, right? Mm-hmm. So one of these days when he decided to stick his face over the back of the seat, I held up my metal lunchbox in front of his face, and then I punched the lunchbox as hard as I could. Which hit his face with great force. Yeah. When
Colin was originally telling me the story, I didn't know the lunchbox was metal. So I was like, honestly, you probably did him a favor, because maybe like if it was cloth, it like softened the blow. And he was like, oh no, it was like a metal lunchbox.
No, it hurt him. And then of course I got in trouble for that.
Yeah.
And like my dad had to like come to the school, and when he talked to me about it, and I was like, I didn't hit him. I never touched him.
I'm not touching you. I'm not touching you.
Yeah, exactly. And he had to smile, and like he was a little bit impressed with me.
Yeah.
He was like, well, that's a pretty clever way of getting around that.
Yeah. Yeah. But, that's...
I think I got away with just like a talking to and no further consequences, but...
Yeah, especially if it's your first time doing anything like that. Yeah. I want to really... this is irrelevant. Mm-hmm. Well, it's relevant to the story, but it's not really a heartwarming thing. But I really want to teach my kids to always stand up for themselves, but really, like, not use violence. Like, stand up for themselves in a way that's effective and, like, assertive and, like, confident, but in a way that, like, also protects the other person's physical safety.
I am a big believer in never throw the first punch.
Yeah.
But if someone is throwing a punch at you, that gives you full permission to fight back.
Yeah. And then I just want to teach my kids, like, what do you do if you're getting, like, verbally bullied? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how do you handle that, you know? Because in that case, it's like, okay, who threw the first punch in your situation?
Yeah, I don't think what I did was justified. But
right. Yeah.
I mean, he never bothered me again, but this is not me condoning violence.
No, don't do violence, kids. Don't do it. For all the 6-year-olds out there who are thinking about punching their annoying classmate with a metal lunchbox, don't do it. It's not worth it. Learn what not to do from Colin. Next heartwarming story.
I want to tell the story of my dear friend Roxy the boxer. The dog? Yeah.
Oh, okay, so it's not a woman named Roxy who was, like, competitively boxing.
No. So, when I was little, my grandma, or my aunt, I think, was the one who owned the dog, but she lived with my grandma. But I would play in my grandma's backyard all the time. But my aunt had this really, like, large and, like, hyperactive, like, golden retriever mix dog. And she was sweet, but she was very, like, playful and wanted to be all up in your business, right? Yeah. And she was also, like, 3 times my size when I was at the age that I was. I was playing in the backyard with my siblings one day, and, like, she literally, like, trampled me.
Oh my gosh.
Like, this dog, like ran me over. It was like being hit by a train. Knocked on my ass.
When you're little, that will happen.
Yeah, and then, like, sticking her face in my space and, like, licking my face and everything. I was horrified. And that instilled... Winter's doing an illustration. That instilled a fear of dogs in me for many, many years, from a very young age. And I never wanted to go near that dog again. I never wanted to go near any dog, really, after that. Even tiny little dogs, that, like, little Chihuahuas or Pomeranians, I didn't want anything to do with. People had to, like, put their dogs away in a different room for me to, like, come into the room. Wow.
I did just do an illustration. We'll share it on Twitter.
Yeah, definitely. And I was afraid of dogs, like, all dogs, for a long time, until my other aunt, my Aunt Jess, I got the news that she was getting a dog, and this really bummed me out because she lived, like, a couple hours away, and, like, visiting my Aunt Jess was, like, one of my favorite things ever. Like, whenever we were going to visit Aunt Jess for a weekend, and I got to see, like, my cousins, I had cousins that were, like, around me and my brother's age, it was always so exciting to me. And then I got the news that they were getting a dog, and I was like, damn it.
Devastating.
Yeah, because, like, that was like a, you know, I wasn't going to be able to enjoy that time as much anymore. But when I got to the house and I met this dog, my family, like, really encouraged me to, like, go at least say hello to the dog, right? Mm-hmm. She was so calm and serene and just, like, gently, like, nudged my hand, and I was, like, petting her, and I was like, oh my god, this dog is so sweet. For the first time ever, I was, like, making friends with this dog, right? Mm-hmm. And that was Roxy. And I, like, fell in love with this dog.
Aww.
And during that first time that I had visited my aunt when she had this dog, I was, like, going out on my own, taking her for walks and stuff. Like, playing with her in the backyard.
Uh-huh.
And she basically helped me get over my fear of dogs because, like, she helped me understand them, like, dogs in general, you know, like, what they want and, like, what their behavior is. Because before, I always thought that all dogs just wanted to climb on top of me and just lick me all the time. And I was like, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Why would anyone want that? But, you know, she expressed her affection in a very, like, more calm and, like, collected way. And from that point on, I think I could consider myself a dog person because, like, I really enjoyed spending time with Roxy, and, like, I really connected with her.
Yeah.
Roxy's no longer with us, but she, I believe, is resting well. She passed a couple years ago. Mm-hmm. But I loved her very much, and she was important to me.
That is a heartwarming story.
Yeah.
Dogs really are very pure, except for the mean ones.
Yeah.
But even those,
I mean, the mean dogs aren't mean by nature, I don't think.
They're mean because of the way people treat them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some dogs are not mean, but just chaotic.
Yes. But some people are so shitty to dogs, but we don't have to talk about
this is not, we're talking about happy things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really am excited to share this illustration with you. There's some, like, aerial liftage for the dog chasing Joe.
That dog is an oval.
Yeah.
It was balloon shaped.
She's pretty ovular. Yeah. 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 I'm trying to think if I have any cute dog stories, but all I can think of is, you know, now it's really clear to me that you're a dog person. Mm-hmm. And I've told you this before, but there's going to be a Christmas. I want to do this for you for Christmas one year when we're established and we're, like, very comfortable and we know that we can handle it. We've talked about getting a dog and we know that we're ready. I want to get, assuming Rose is still alive, because she's going to need a dog that is very gentle.
Yeah.
I'm going to go and I'm going to specifically get a golden retriever. This might be the only time that I ever buy a specific dog breed, you know, but I just know that with Rose, we really need a dog that is bred to be gentle. It is not going to give her a hard time. And I'm going to do the Christmas thing. I'm going to, like, put it, I don't know how I'm going to finagle this, but I'm going to put it in a box with, like, air holes and stuff just for, like, a minute so that you can, like, open it. I'm going to have to, I don't know how I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
But I really want you to have the experience of, like, getting a puppy on Christmas.
Yeah.
Or maybe for my kids one day, you know. We'll see. But I just want to give that experience to somebody.
Yeah, that'd be really sweet.
One day I'm just going to come home with a dog.
I've always, well, not always, but I think since my time with Roxy, I think I've wanted my own dog, sort of. And, you know, my dad now has a dog, too. And I don't really live there anymore, or most of the time anyway.
Yeah. She's so cute, though.
She is so cute. Little Fizzgig.
Yeah.
I forgot what breed she is, but she's this little, tiny fuzzball,
yeah,
long-haired dog. She literally is like a baby.
Yeah.
She
She like falls asleep on you.
she will, first minute you walk into the door, she'll like just scream at you.
Yeah.
And then she'll like come up and sniff you, and then she'll just sit in your lap.
And like fall asleep.
Yeah.
Pancake style.
And she will sit there as long as you sit there.
Yeah. She's like a cat of a dog.
She also, I don't know if you know this, when my parents are out of the house, she will go out to the window by the front door and whine incessantly.
Yeah.
Just like, rah, rah, rah. Just constant.
Oh my gosh, he is a baby.
Yeah.
Aw. Yeah, Fizzy is cute.
Yep.
Yeah. I have a heartwarming pet story that I can share.
Do it. Share it.
So, when I was growing up, we had we had multiple cats, but one of our cats was named Loki. And our cats were indoor cats. They weren't allowed outside. That was like a stipulation of the rescue place that we got them from. Mm-hmm. Was that they had to be indoor cats. And one of them did not want to go outside at all. We had 3 cats total. One of them did not want to go outside at all. One of them would want to go outside, but she was like a very stately cat. So she would like go outside and just kind of like do her thing and like just look around and like observe the property, you know? And so if she got out, it wasn't a big deal because you could just like very easily catch up with her.
Right.
You know, and she wasn't going to run away from you.
Yeah.
She just wanted to know what was going on the property, you know?
Yeah.
But Loki, if Loki got out, she was like a bullet.
Loki.
Yeah. And so one day she got out. And this wasn't the first time that it had happened. But she got out and we were looking for her and looking for her. I think it was like nighttime and we could not find her. And she was gone overnight. We started to put like missing photos up. We were like sharing stuff on Facebook. We were like talking to neighbors, like asking if they had seen her. And the second night comes around. So she's gone a second night. Mm-hmm. And I am just so like sad and scared, you know? Yeah. Because the more time that goes by, the less likely it is that we're going to get her back, you know? And she didn't have a collar on. Because, I mean, actually, I don't even know why she didn't have a collar on. It might have just been circumstantial, but I don't think she had her collar. Or maybe she did. I don't know. Might be getting a little fuzzy on the details. Anyway, I remember being so sad and, like, stressed out. Mm-hmm. And so I was, like, doing research, and I was like, how to find a lost cat, right? And I uncovered... I was, like, 12 at this time. I was the internet sleuth, you know, of the family. I was, like, the one who knew how to Google things. Yep. So I went on, like, Yahoo Answers. Yep. And they were like, usually when an indoor cat goes missing and they're gone like that for a long period of time, chances are they have not gone far from the house, but they just don't know where they are. Right. And so they don't know how to get back in, you know? And so I told this to my parents. I was like, statistically, it's likely that she is somewhere near the house. So we were like, okay. So I think this was the second night that she would have been missing. And so we did like a sweep. We have, you know, you've been in my house. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a decent sized house, and then we have some property that extends beyond it. Like we have a yard, you know, and then we have like woods beyond that. Right. So we just did like a sweep of the property, and we were like, you know, we had a can of cat food and, you know, going around with flashlights mm-hmm. and just like saying her name, like Loki, like trying to get her to say something, you know, if she was around. And sure enough, like after a little bit of doing this, we hear like her little meow, and we're like, oh my gosh, like, did you hear that? And like, sure enough, she was actually in this wood pile, because we stored firewood like under our porch, and she was like stuck in between like pieces of wood in the wood pile. And my dad went and like got her and like helped her like get out. And she was so scared. Aww. You know, because she had been gone for what, like 36 hours at that point. Oh my gosh. Probably didn't know where to find water or food. Probably was cold.
Oh my gosh.
But we found her and we brought her back, and it was just, you know, nice. Like, sometimes animals do get found. Sometimes lost pets do get found. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Little Loki. Perfect name, too. To be the one that's chaotic and getting lost.
Yeah, she was pretty mischievous. Yeah.
That's a nice story. Must have been such a relief.
Yeah, it was. And it was like, wow, you know, sometimes things really do just work out.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's always nice.
And she was like my dad's little buddy.
Oh.
Yeah, like, she was his favorite. And they were just, like, really close and, like, really bonded. And, like, he was really glad that we found her. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and I felt like the little hero, you know, because I was like, I brought the power of Google and Yahoo Answers to assist us. My dad told me, he was like, thank you so much for, like, doing that research and helping us figure that out, because we might not have, like, done that search, you know, a second time and found her. Yeah.
It's always nice. I mean, I was never... my quote-unquote tech skills never came in clutch to that degree, but I recall many times where I was like the tech-savvy person of the family, like figuring out how to switch the HDMI on the TV.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
honestly, my TV at my parents' house, it's so complicated. There's like 5 remotes.
Oh my
gosh. There's 5 remotes. I was like, I never want to have this many remotes.
No. It's terrible.
Yeah, because you have, like, especially when you have, like, multiple devices, it's like you got the VCR, if you know what that is. The VCR DVD player, you know, before, you know, when people still got, like, DVDs and stuff. You know, you got, like, the stereo, you have, like, your separate sound bar, you got, like, the Apple TV added on there haphazardly now, and then you have the TV itself. It's too much.
Roku stick.
Roku stick is the savior of us all. Of course, we still have problems because whenever we turn on our TV, the PS4 just comes on because it recognizes that, like, the display is active, and it's like, I'm sorry, did you want to play some games on the PS4? Because here I am.
All right, PS4 is a headache of a piece of hardware, but I won't get into that right now.
Yeah, we're talking about positive things here. Yeah. Sorry to bring that negative PS4 energy into the podcast.
No, we don't even want to mention that.
So, what is your next story that you would like to share?
Well, I have one more, but I think it should be our grand finale.
It should be a grand finale?
Because it's pretty... It's kind of heavy.
Okay.
But it's very wholesome.
Very wholesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do you have any other ones that you want to share?
Well, I can share one, again, from when I was little. It's kind of a short one, but it's sweet. Okay. So when I was, I think maybe 8 or 9, I was in elementary school. I think I was in 3rd or 4th grade. My school had a bring your grandparent to breakfast day. And all the kids would go in early and, like, sit in the cafeteria and, like, have a waffle with their grandparent, you know?
Yeah.
But my grandparents both lived very far away. Mm-hmm. I grew up in Connecticut, and I had 3 sets of grandparents, because my dad's parents were divorced. One in Florida, one in South Carolina, and one in Vermont.
Wow.
So my grandparents did not live near me at all. So bring your grandparent to breakfast day came around, and I was like, I don't have a grandparent to, like, bring to grandparents' breakfast day. And my mom was like, why don't you ask Pastor Terry?
This story.
Yeah, if you've listened to the podcast, you probably know who Pastor Terry is. He's great. I think he came up in the spirituality, science, philosophy.
I believe he did.
Yeah, he's just been he was a really positive influence in my life growing up. So I asked him, I was like, hey, Pastor Terry, like, will you come to bring my grandparent to breakfast day?
Oh.
And he said, I would love to. And so he got me this book. He, like, came to the breakfast, and he was like, I want you to know that I really appreciate you asking me to come to breakfast. Mm-hmm. I think that he did not have any children of his own, so he didn't have any grandchildren.
Right.
And he said, I don't have a chance to do this stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Because I don't have any grandchildren. I might be misremembering that, but I think in my church, as a pastor, you could get married, but you weren't supposed to have children.
Right.
So he didn't have children. But I feel like I might be misremembering that, but that's the way I remember it. And he said, so, you know, I can't do this because I don't have any grandchildren, so I really appreciate you, like, bringing me here.
Yeah.
And he gave me this book, and I still have it. It's sitting on my bookshelf right there. And it has, like, an inscription that says, like, thank you for, like, bringing me to breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just really nice.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
That's a really good story.
Yeah.
You did something nice for an adult as a child.
Yeah. Well, my mom made me do it, really. But I liked Pastor Terry.
Yeah, she didn't make you, really.
No, she didn't.
She, like, it was a suggestion.
Yeah.
It was a good suggestion.
It was a suggestion, and then it was like a little shooing along at the church. You know,
Yeah.
why don't you go ask him?
Mm-hmm.
You know? Yeah. Yeah.
But I can tell from the way that you talk about it that you did want to, even if
Yeah.
you might have been a little shy about it.
I was so shy as a kid. Yeah. I had like no idea what to say to him, but he was just so kind to me. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah. But by the way, I recently told my mom, I recalled to my mom the story about the dinosaur thing. And I told her, I was like, you know, when I was little, I was like, why are there not dinosaurs in the Bible? And you had me go ask Pastor Terry about it. And she was like, I did? That was such a slick move on my part to get out of that question.
I mean, not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Like, who better to ask?
Right? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's
just passing it all off to Pastor Terry. But he handled it so gracefully.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if I have any more that I might be able to just pull out.
Just tack on there.
Yeah, just maybe some stories up my sleeve.
Well, let me check. I'm currently looking up Winter's sleeve.
I feel like I have like brief instances of people being nice.
It's up to you whether you want to share or not.
Well, I could tell that very quick story about the time that we were walking. We went for a walk when we were still living in Binghamton, and those people in the car rolled down their window and yelled out at us, "You guys look great. Have a wonderful day."
Yeah. I mean, I just love stuff like that.
That's so nice. I could never have the gumption to do anything like that.
Oh, I could have the gumption.
I wish I had the gumption.
Well,
I feel like I used to have the gumption. I used to just not have any filters, you know?
Yeah. And
I would say things like that, you know?
Well, we can regumpify you.
The thing is, I think my filters are good. Regumpify? Sir, you are lacking in gumption, so what we're gonna do is regumpify you. Is that like what, you can turn me into Forrest Gump?
Instead of rehabilitation, regumpification.
You've been degumpified. Yeah, I know that there's been more nice things. I had written down here, like, a list of, well, this is not really a story. Well, maybe it is a story. Should I tell a story? It's kind of just a loose collection of things that kind of sound nice together.
Yeah, tell it.
So, I am trying currently to really get a handle on how I think about the world and how I think about things and the nature of the world. And Colin is headbanging right now.
I'm nodding.
Very, very, with much gumption.
Told you, have it.
I'm trying to think more positively about the world and to not assume the worst, you know?
Yeah.
And to maybe even experiment with assuming the best. So I was thinking to myself, you know, maybe sometimes things just work out. You know, maybe things just fall into place sometimes.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I'll work on thinking about this, you know? I'm just kind of like thinking to myself, like shower thoughts, you know? The next day, a number of things happened that just really oddly, like, fell into place.
Okay.
So, I'm going to be doing some human subjects research this coming semester, which means that I need to do a training to get ready for that. Now, I had already done the training, at my last school, but because it's been 3 years, I needed to do a refresher course. But before I did that, I had to transfer the old course from my old school to my current school. So I did that.
Right.
And then it came up in my new records as an incomplete course. And I said, well, what the heck? Turns out my current school requires just a little bit more detail to complete the course. So I had completed like steps 1 through 12, and I needed to do 13 and 14.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay, cool. So I did 13 and 14. It took me, not a lot of time. And I was done very quickly. And so I am technically now certified to do human subjects research at my current school. Even though my certification was going to be expired soon, it's now going to last me through the semester and then beyond. And I was like, wow, sometimes things do work out. And I was also thinking to myself, I was like, I want to start being more conscious of my health, and I want to start keeping red wine in the house,
Yeah.
I promised those two things go together, and I promised there were also other steps. But I was like, I need a treat to give to myself so that I can feel like I'm treating myself that isn't complete garbage. So I was like, I want to start keeping dark chocolate and dry red wine,
Two amazing things.
Right? And lo and behold, I get a coupon in the mail for this wine company that's doing a really great deal. So you could basically get 12 bottles of wine for $5 a bottle of nice, good wine.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh my gosh. It just fell into my lap. I was like, I'm now going to have a ton, a stock of red wine in the house. And the third thing that happened that day, it's kind of small, but it happened. I have a box in my desk. A cardboard box where I keep all of my old wrapping paper and ribbons and bows and stuff, because I always reuse that stuff. I feel like I never run out of wrapping paper because I save it, and it's honestly kind of frustrating because I always have so much, and I can't wait to get rid of it, but then I just get more. Anyway, point aside, I got this really beautiful box because we ordered some candles,
right?
And I was like, I want to use this to wrap a present eventually. And I was like, oh, but it's not gonna fit inside the box that I have. And I was like, wait a second, what if I can put that box in this box? And I put the smaller box in the bigger box, and it fit just perfectly, so snugly. And I was like, oh my goodness. And then it fit perfectly back in my desk drawer, and I was like, how did this happen? And I was like, oh my gosh, sometimes things do work out. And I don't know if it was that, God was smiling upon me that day or whatever, or if
the name of that story was Winter's Great Day.
Yeah. or if it was just that I was noticing nice things that were working out because I had that thought in my head,
That's the big question.
Yeah. But there have been, I feel like since I've started to think about maybe things work out.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm noticing more things that work out.
I think we do, when we're looking at outliers, I do think we tend to focus more on negative than positive.
Yeah.
Which is a bummer, because it's nice to see all the things that are going well for you and appreciate them. But we have a natural tendency to just think about, the good things that are happening. That's calm seas, and we don't really need to pay attention to that. We need to find the negative and pick that out so we can remedy it.
Yeah.
But that's stressful, Stressful when it's not counteracted by the positive feelings that you get from things that just do work out sometimes.
Yeah, and I feel like just noticing them is nice.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and that reminds me, so there was one other instance. I don't know if it was that day or the next day, but you were driving me to campus because I had to pick something up. And you were driving me there, but I was going to have to walk outside for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. And we got in the car, and we were starting to drive to campus, and it was raining.
Yeah.
It started raining. And I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot to bring my umbrella. I should have brought my umbrella. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe it'll stop raining. You know, I'm not gonna get upset that it's raining and, you know, be upset that I didn't bring my umbrella. I'm not gonna borrow that trouble. You know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna deal with that if and when it happens. And then we got to campus, and I got out of the car, and I noticed that it had stopped raining. And I was like, it stopped raining. Sometimes things do work out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Winter's a great day.
Yeah. But I guess my point is, the heartwarming moral of that story is that, you know, notice when things work out. Because I think it might be happening more frequently than you realize. And I think that might be what was happening for me.
Yep.
You know? Yeah.
Yep.
Are you ready to share your grand finale?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So have I ever told you... I think I've told you.
Uh-huh.
But I don't think I've ever talked about it on the podcast, about the Lead America Medical Conference.
Oh, yes. You told me I think I remember what happened. It was like a really monumental experience. There was crying on an airplane.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of shit that happened because it was a 10-day period.
Yeah. I think you actually might have talked about it on the podcast.
Well, I don't think I talked about this specific instance that I'm going to talk about.
Well, why don't you go ahead and talk about it then?
I'm going to talk about it. Winter's now mimicking the nodding that I was doing earlier. Vigorous nodding.
How does it feel to be on the receiving end of vigorous nodding?
It's something. I can't recall if I've ever mentioned this conference in general in the podcast before. So what it was, the year or the summer before I was going into 10th grade in high school, I had the opportunity to go to Johns Hopkins University by myself for 10 days for this thing called the Lead America Medical Conference. Because at the time, I thought that I was going to go into the medical field as a career. And, you know, I was going to go to medical school and stuff. So this conference was for, like, aspiring medical students that were, you know, in high school and, like, looking to get, like, an inside scoop on, like, what the life of a med student is going to be, right?
Give me the scoop, man.
Yeah, and it was for, you know, the quote-unquote gifted program kids.
Yeah. Yep.
You had to be recommended by your teacher to go to this thing.
So you were recommended.
I was recommended, and I don't think it was because I was the most exceptional student in my classes, but I think it was because it was my AP biology teacher that recommended me to this thing, and I actually didn't do super well in that class, but I think she was a cool and understanding person, and I think that she saw specifically that I would have thrived in this environment. So I got the opportunity to go down to Baltimore for 10 days, and my dad took the train down with me, and we spent one night together. We, like, went out to dinner, and it was really cool. And then I forget if he took the train or flew back the next day, but then I was there. I was living in the dorms of the university. And I got to meet a ton of cool people. And there was probably like 200 to 300 kids there from, like, all across the country. And there was, like, all these different meetings and events and, like, tours that we got. We, like, went around the city to, like, hospitals and different, like, care centers, and, like, I got to see, like, parts of the university. We got to go into, like, this cadaver room one time.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, we saw some pretty behind the scenes stuff. We got to take a look at and actually interact with some really cool, like, cutting edge, like, surgery technology.
Wow.
Where you can, like, almost like a crane game, like, move things around. And it was like these robotic hands that would move around, and, like, operate. and there was these little like trial like games that you could play with the robot hands.
Oh,
It was crazy cool stuff. And there were all these like guest speakers, like these renowned like psychiatrists and pediatricians and all that stuff.
wow, that's really amazing.
Yeah. The specific thing that I wanted to talk about for this episode was over the course of the week, or pretty early on in the conference, we were split up into these groups of about 10 people or so. And we were all assigned like a project to do over the course of the conference.
Right.
And the course was basically, or the project was basically, use the information that you learn over the course of the conference to make sort of like an like an awareness-oriented presentation on one field of like medical concerns, right?
Yeah.
My group, and each group was denoted by a letter. I was in Group K. Okay. And
okay.
Group K became very, very good friends of mine. And we nicknamed ourselves Special K.
Wow.
We were a bunch of dorks,
That's
let me tell
funny,
you.
because you love Special K cereal.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was perfect. We were a bunch of dorks in Special K. But we really got along, and we bonded very quickly. And the project that we were assigned to make a presentation about was mental illness.
Just you know that one illness, the mental one.
Well, it was like a field.
Oh, okay.
Like an area of medicine.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
Like some people had like developmental diseases.
Right. Okay.
We were assigned mental illness as like our field of concern, I guess.
Gotcha.
So, I think we picked, I forget if everybody made a video or we chose a video as the format that we were going to make. And when the time came around, I think it was like the last day of the conference where we were all presenting our projects. Ours came out a little bit different than the rest of them. It was kind of unique in that most of them were sort of a very like academic like presentation like format, like people would take turns coming up and speaking. There would be like video like interviews and stuff. We decided to make a sort of like PSA like commercial kind of format of video and just present that. And I remember the process of making it. It was like we were all just like sitting in this like one like classroom in the university, and we were just like brainstorming ideas, bouncing off each other, really great. And we had a lot of fun shooting the video too. So what it was that there was one camera person. We did it all in one take. That was on a route through the different buildings of the university, and they were walking forward, so it was like a first-person point of view. And then they went by all these different scenes of like people sort of like assisting each other. And like people lifting each other up, like someone helping someone across the street, etc. And hidden along the route were all these little like sticky note like index card things. And on one side of each of the index card things was like a fact or like statistic or like PSA about a certain type of mental illness. And then on the other side was a message of like positivity and aspiration, or affirmation rather, that had to do with it. So for example, content warning for mentions of mental illness and stuff. But for one of them was like a statistic about suicide rates.
Right.
And then on the other side of the card, it would say that there's hope for everybody and somebody out there cares about you. Mm-hmm. And it was all sorts of that stuff. And, the person that was holding the camera would take the card, pick it up, show it to the camera, flip it over. Mm-hmm. And all this time there was like uplifting music. And I can't do it justice with words.
It sounds like it was really big.
It was a really beautiful thing that we made.
Yeah.
And by the end of the video, the woman who had like, she was like the head person of the conference, like the head organizer. I don't know what her official title was, but she was always the one that was in the lecture hall when we all met together, and she like gave us our project assignments, and she like gave us our like our agendas for the day.
Right.
By the end of the video, she was in tears.
Oh wow.
The video had touched her in a very personal way, and I won't say, but she shared some very like personal information with us. And she just got so emotional, and she said, "Thank you all for the things that you've done. This year, and this group of attendees has been like my favorite ever.
Wow.
And you've really made this time special for me." And what happened then was everybody got up from their seats in the lecture hall, and we had an enormous group hug.
Oh my gosh.
In the lecture hall.
Wow.
So if that's not the most heartwarming thing that you've ever heard,
wow,
then I don't know what is.
That's pretty heartwarming.
We managed to touch the hearts of a lot of people that day, I think.
That's great.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, I guess that concludes our heartwarming story time.
Sure.
Yeah,
No
I hope that you have enjoyed these heartwarming stories. I don't know how to respond to that. How do I wrap this up?
You look like you're getting tired.
Yeah, I would say I'm getting tired.
Okay. Well,
I'm ready to go sit by an actual fire instead of the fire that we're looking at on my computer screen.
Yeah. Well, I hope that our stories did put a smile on your face, or at least make you feel something nice inside. There's good things in the world. There's always good things in the world for you to turn to.
Yeah.
No matter how hard it gets.
Yeah.
And we love you.
Yeah. Have a wonderful holiday as much as you can. Mm-hmm. And we will see you in the new year. I think Colin is going to make an announcement about this, but this is going to be our last episode of 2021. So it has been a really nice year hanging out with you, and we are going to miss the next episode upload.
Yes.
So
we're going to do I guess it'd be 2-week hiatus.
Yeah. So we'll resume posting at the next regularly scheduled date that it would be released.
Right.
So 4 weeks from the typical date.
Whenever this episode is uploaded.
Well, this is gonna be uploaded at an unusual time.
Oh.
This coming Tuesday, the 28th, I think. Yeah, the 28th is when it would normally be uploaded, but because it's like Christmas stories, we're gonna upload it early.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we will see you in January, or you will hear us You will see us with your ears. But yeah, until then, stay warm, stay out of trouble. And
a happy new year.
Oh my gosh. Bye.
Bye.